as was so eloquently saying, I think you dropped off more than a deuce. I think you dropped more make a quad,
I
it
was waiting
seems.
all day on that one. I apologize. You know your man is working hard. Yeah.
He drops a deuce.
Mount Vesuvius. Yeah. Well, that fucker exploded just like Vesuvius.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
was waiting on that one for a minute. So
Yeah,
well, good to see you, buddy.
you too, man.
Good to see you.
You too.
I'm sure you're some on the metal news. This coming Friday, Bruce will release the Mandrake Project album.
Yeah,
Uh,
I heard the single.
mhm.
I wasn't impressed. You know, it's like I mean,
Okay.
I only gave it a
Okay.
passing listen, you know,
All right. All right.
and I haven't been back to it. I think I've just been doing other things, you know.
Sure.
But
Sure.
but
Then Slayer reunited, which cash grab.
yeah.
So, but
Only
I
for a
heard
couple
Gary
shows, I
King's.
think, right? Only for a
Yeah.
couple shows.
Yeah. Like
It can't
September
be
and stuff.
yeah, it can't be
Riot Fest and
that
another one.
much money. Yeah, it can't be
Yeah.
that much money. Um
And now Kerry King, he's got his own super group together and they released a single. It was like 2 weeks before this news
mhm.
came. And I like the single. I think
Yeah.
it's a burner. Interested to see
It
what
sounds like Slayer's last two albums, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be interested to hear other tracks and stuff from it for sure. And yeah, that's really about it, for news. Of course, then the following week after this week, Judas Priest will be releasing Invisible Shield, which all three tracks off that I just like I'm loving
I've
it.
heard the one track and it's really good.
Yeah.
I don't know
Right.
how Halford's going to be able to sing it live because it's all high,
Yeah.
you know, and like doing it in the studio, multiple takes, I get that.
Yeah.
Doing that live, there's no way.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't hit those notes like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, what I've heard, I'm like, okay, yeah, another good studio album sounds like.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
yeah, other than that, man, that's it's just between work and yeah, that's about it.
All right. So I guess we should get this ball rolling, right?
Let's go for it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it's been on, guys, and Dan Love from me. You're listening and watching heavy fucking metal fucking horror. That's not the PC version.
I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
Hey, this is Chop Top. You're going to want to stay tuned to this one because you're going to take a bite out of it.
And you are watching and listening to heavy metal horror. Ugh. Yes, talking about taking a bite. Kitties, kitties, kitties. Tonight's show, Bite Me Jaws. It's going to be kind of an unusual one for us, like a film retrospective. Chop and I are going to talk about the Jaws movies. We're just going to talk
Mhm.
about them, you know? Um, I remember seeing Jaws in the theater when I was about 8. I think I just turned 8. And man, alive, that movie fucking scared me. I remember watching so many scenes with my hands like over my eyes. The scene that still traumatizes me is when Richard Dreyfuss's character is swimming. They find the boat that had gotten sunk earlier, and he's
Yeah,
reaching in to get that tooth, and that head pops out. Man,
fucking head pops out. Jesus.
I still like fuck, you know. God damn it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, now I'm filtering it through layers of like, okay, I know this was filmed in a like a pool, because even then as a kid, I could tell that water looks different here,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Because it was just they poured milk in it to kind of get it all cloudy and but still a really effective scene.
Very effective.
So uh if you don't know Jaws, it's the story of a little shark that comes by visiting Amity Island and decides to stop by for some dinner. um yeah, the movie came out in 1975, and it was written by Peter Benchley, who wrote
Yeah.
the screenplay, and Carl Gottlieb, who's in the movie. He's one of the fishermen. And then directed by Steven Spielberg, which
And wasn't Peter Benchley's book by a different title?
no, it
Montag,
was
I
called
believe.
Jaws, but it was
It was
different.
called John.
Yeah, and it's not. I made the mistake of reading it. It is not a good book. I'm like,
Really?
well, yeah, after I read it, I'm like, what the fuck, man? Why I would never would have made a movie based on it if it was just the book, because Spielberg radically changed the book to really
Okay.
keep the focus on the shark. The stuff about the mayor was there and like wanting to protect Amity, from to keep dollars coming in because Amity's a summer town. I get that. That was all in there, but there's a lot of other stuff that was cut from the novel, and I'm glad because the novel's actually kind of boring. Um,
Wow.
there's
Okay.
Martin Brody, his wife has an affair with Richard Dreyfuss's character. And I'm like, what the
Yeah, you
fuck
don't
is
need that
this?
in a film. Yeah, you don't
No.
even need
Yeah,
that
it's
in a
like, no,
book.
no, no.
So,
Yeah, it was just dumb.
huh.
Yeah, it's not particularly well written. So I think the movie made Benchley sell a lot more
Oh,
books
I'm sure.
than he would have sold otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, and that poster is one of the most iconic
Um,
images of that gigantic shark. I remember first seeing it before I saw the movie, seeing the poster. I'm like, fuck, man, this shark's just going to swallow that naked girl whole.
yeah.
And I'm also thinking, naked girl. I gotta get to see a
Yeah.
naked
I
girl.
can't wait to see this movie now more than ever.
Yeah. Um,
Little Chop is coming to visit. Yeah, it's gonna
no, little chub. That's right, little
yeah,
chop. Yeah.
Chub
Chub,
Top,
don't
Chub
call
Top,
me Norman, call me Chubsy Ubsy.
Chub
um,
Top.
Chub. That's good. What are your first like memories? Like the first time you saw Jaws, what do you remember about it?
Oh yeah, man. I remember I was a little whipper, and it went out of theaters, but they did an edited TV version, right? I was in my grandparents here in Sandusky, and I was, God, was that 6, 7 years old? And I remember I'm laying on the couch, and I got blank, and I'm just like, I never, I can't recall. I don't think I missed most of the movie because blanket was over my face most of the time. But I do remember how traumatizing that was for me because it's going to sound silly as hell, but I'm sure other people have had this.
You haven't
I
taken a shower
decided,
since.
yeah, 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 you take a shower and I'm like, Jaws is coming to get me out of the fucking drain, right? And you
Right?
just had this ominous because it left such a emotional effect on you, an impact that was just like you can see why it scared people. I don't think I went to beaches for a couple of years even after that. It was just yeah, because it's that fear. We talk about Jaws. It's always about the fear of the unknown, what you can't see, what's under there,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm fine not going in the fucking ocean, man.
I am terrified of deep bodies of water. And it's
Hmm.
mostly because, when I see like a ship sinking, like there was a shot in like in the with Perfect Storm at the end where you
Oh
see the ship
God,
going down and just being swallowed in darkness. That is like my worst fear. My worst
yeah,
phobia, like that's how the fucking die, just being swallowed in the ocean and just going down in the depths of the dark, like cold, you can't see anything, can't, yeah, it's just the worst. Um, that Jaws really kind of evokes that. I mean, that terror
yeah.
of what's in the deep, you know?
And I guess more on Jaws. I mean, the original obviously is the fact that was lightning in a bottle. That cast, that was just
Yeah.
an amazing ensemble
And
they
none of
put
those
together.
people were like the original picks, the once, all these, but Spielberg really did not want Hollywood A-listers being in there, but there were a lot of people he had considered before settling on this cast. And I can't
And how
imagine this
iconic.
movie without these
No,
these main characters, these
you
actors.
have
Like,
all
oh,
these different personalities, and they portrayed them so well. You can't imagine another Quint if it was anybody but Robert Shaw. I mean,
mhm,
there's just nobody to fit that bill.
yeah,
And Roy Scheider, such a great. He's already scared of water and stuff, and he's going out into this and hunt this big shark, and then you got Richard Dreyfuss's character is just he's the one trying to talk sense into the mayor and everybody else, and Martin
mhm.
Brody's buying into it and stuff, but you know those three together, that was just like in that
It's perfect. It
USS
works.
Indianapolis speech is just I'm silent and still enthralled every time that comes on in the movie.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just it just draws you in.
And
So
now I'm trying to find the scenes, the cuts where Shaw was drunk and where he wasn't, because that's how he spent most of the movie.
yeah, yeah.
And because he was, but
I guess he was hard to deal with. That's my
yeah, I would
understanding.
think, you know, I would think so.
Yeah.
But there are some genius filmmakers who borrowed from Jaws to make their own movie. One I'm thinking of, particularly a character named Squint in Sorority Sisters versus Sasquatch.
Sasquatch. I've seen that one. Yeah. And I know
Yeah,
that filmmaker personally.
yeah. I
Really
think
good.
there's a Squint-like speech or Quint-like speech in that movie talking about Sasquatch. Yes, I remember writing that.
Movie magic.
That's right.
There you go,
Cyclops
kid.
movies,
Search it out.
movies.
Cyclops
Yeah.
movies, Sorry
That's
Sisters or Sasquatch. Buy it.
yeah.
Okay.
If you want your movies with extra cheese, um, we got to shoot a new one. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, there's just so much. Jaws has just fundamentally changed how we look at movies and how movies, are done. I mean, because they had to work around the shark not working.
Yeah, a lot of
Bruce,
problems.
yeah, but the barrels became the sign of what was scary. When you see the barrels moving, you bought into the fact that the shark had drugged these
There.
barrels down, and you were essentially watching where the shark is. And you see that a lot of that trickery being used in the movie because the shark just wasn't working.
Right.
And in the scene where the guy's like he's got the big roast and he's sitting out there and like you see him get pulled from the little dock and he's swimming back and the dock is coming back at him. You're like, oh fuck, the shark's just gonna
Right.
eat him. Yeah, it was
I was
terrifying.
watching another podcast recently, and they were talking about Jaws, the original film, and they said that you really don't see Jaws that much, the shark. In the whole movie, it's not on, he's not on screen that much.
Right. You
But
see a
it's
fin or
like
something like that. Yeah.
all those effective things that Spielberg put in there, those barrels, that dock, and you just know, holy
Yeah.
shit, he's there,
Yeah.
man.
Because
He's
you
coming
see the
for
effect early on when the naked girl gets eaten,
you.
you
Mhm.
know, and you see the thrashing, the terror.
Screaming, yeah.
Yeah. And you get the Sharko cam, with the very beginning, it's the movement underwater with that great score,
Oh yeah.
and so immediately you're already in the water, you know that something's out there, and
And what an indelible mark this has left on pop culture ever since it's released. You had games based on it, you had merchandise, toys, other things, and then
mhm,
also just to this day, there's only one true shark movie anybody ever goes to. Oh yeah, Jaws. They know
yeah,
that one. And there's so many. Well, we know like six-headed shark attack and such
yeah, which is
spellbinders
pretty.
like that.
I don't know how many more heads they can put on a shark.
Right.
Yeah, that one they ran out of heads in the front and they had to put some in the back. um
But it's amazing the impact so many years later it still has on popular culture and on
well,
film
all the
history.
movies that attribute Jaws in some way. Ridley Scott used like Jaws in space to sell Alien.
I mean,
Orca came out. We had Barracuda, an alligator. Um,
oh
Tentacles,
yeah, tentacles.
Tuturia,
Oh,
Eaten Alive, um, Great White, Monster Shark, the Deep Blood. I mean, Jaws in Japan, and Takashi Yamazaki, the director for Godzilla Minus One, also said that it was Jaws that inspired him, and he tried to have that in my Godzilla Minus One. And you've seen
wow.
it? Have you seen it yet?
I have not seen it yet, buddy.
You motherfucker!
I know. I'm slacking. I really,
I
I have
quit.
to.
I quit. Um,
I'll leave the only
yeah.
one with the talent on here. That's fine.
Oh man, that's good. Well, I guess we had a pretty low bar. Um,
Uh,
but
but yeah, it's just, I mean, we
the
could go on
impact
talking about that
is
first
crazy,
film. Yeah.
and even Airplane spoofed it when at the very beginning when the plane was flying by. You
And the
would
music.
oh no, yeah, the music, but the music, John Williams score is so iconic. We hear that
Excuse me,
it's used.
stewardess. I speak Jaws. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, Jaws just is like one of the perfect movies. Like it's on, I'll
Yep.
watch it, and
Yep.
it's
I never got sick of it ever.
yeah, it's on my perfect movie list. It's just I can watch it anytime, day or night.
Mhm.
It's just there. And
The one that jolts me the most, and not only the head scene, but when it gets Robert Shaw Quint on the
oh
boat,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
just and it gobbles. And I'm like, and he's kicking and thrashing to get, and he just like, and he takes that bite down, and like, oh my god, it's
yeah.
so
You
horrifying.
hear it and the
So,
blood spurts out.
uh,
Yeah,
so visceral. Yeah,
yeah. It's a gory, horrifying death.
yeah.
Yeah, that movie just Yeah, the impact of that scene because we were young, you know. It's
Sure.
it was only PG. You know, it's
No,
a pretty intense movie for PG.
I'm
Um,
surprised. Looking back, you're like, how the fuck did this not make an R rating? Because, hey,
yeah.
at that time, I think
Well, it
things
was
were a
the
little more.
70s. Things were a little more lax.
Right, right.
You know, PG could I don't know. PG could mean all kinds of things, but yeah, it was really surprising. Like it is
Still had
such an intense film.
sexploitation films and everything that didn't, and you're like, well, this should be X or something. It's like,
Yeah.
so,
That's
so
that's that's my next film to shoot. Um, then we have the that Jaws. We could do a whole show on just Jaws, but I don't.
absolutely.
You know, but then we also had Jaws 2, which came out 3 years later.
Mhm.
The direct sequel. It was written by Carl Gottlieb this time, and it was not. It was directed by uh, Jeannot Swark, a French director,
Mhm.
and we had some of the same cast. It's a similar thing, but we have another shark is terrorizing Amity, and this time no one wants to believe Chief Brody. You know, because early on we see the divers get attacked, and there's a picture what he takes as an eye, looks like a shark, the shark's eye, and no one in the town wants to believe it. And then we see Brody kind of get unhinged because he's up in the shark tower and starts shooting out at the beach, and it was just a
Yeah,
school of fish, loses his job, then of course the
yeah.
shark just show up and you know. Um I
I,
I
I,
Go
I
ahead.
enjoy. Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, Monte. I enjoyed the sequel.
Hmm.
Nothing's going to top the first,
No.
but this was a worthy sequel. I thought there's a little too much dialogue, too much time spent with the kids on the fucking boats out in the thing. It's just
Yeah.
like, okay, let's
Not
speed
as
this
much
up and let's do
happens.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not as much happens in this one. We don't see it. And always with sequels, you're trying to build off the previous story and we kind of know what's out there. So how do you make it different? Um
Yeah. I
and
will say this in the climactic scene when Chief Brody gets the shark again. I thought that was pretty ingenious at the time. Attracted to sound, had a big
mhm,
electrical line and tapping that. And
yeah.
he takes a bite and it's like, wow, that was pretty iconic shark death scene like in the first movie. I mean, not as great, but
Yeah.
this one was just like, it was like, okay, that's interesting. That's fresh. I can deal with that. That's
Sure.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little more of a slower movie in that we don't have
Yeah.
this big gust of adventure like we do in the first one. The first one, it's almost like maybe something out of a Melville. They're out in the high seas. The music is really uplifting, and
Yeah.
this one's a quieter movie. It seems because the kids are out there. They're sneaking out on a bunch of boats, and Brody gets fired, and no one seems to be taking the threat as seriously. But there are some scenes that are still really really good, and
Hmm.
continue the tradition of being visceral and scary.
Like that
Um,
one, you get an underwater scene of that guy trying to get up on the boat or one girl, and Jaws is just right underneath and just takes him down. So
yeah, you
it's like,
see it
oh, that's
under the
really
water.
effective. Yeah, seeing him under
Yeah,
the water coming like I'm like, oh my god,
yeah, and things
that's
underwater
effective.
is scary, like War of the Gargantuas. Looking down at that green gargantuas, looking up, I can still see that's a shirt, man.
Yeah,
Um,
man,
and I
agreed.
remember I was out with my cousins fishing out on the lake, and we just had like a 14-foot, like a rowboat, kind of thing. And I remember seeing a carp swim under the boat, and this carp was easily 4 feet long. And that was the biggest fish I've ever fucking seen, just a few inches beneath the boat. I'm like, holy fuck, look at that carp, you know? And like, yeah, it was mammoth. Yeah. And I could have reached down and, just grabbed him. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever probably do that again. Deep water. It's like,
Yeah,
no, no.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't even like taking a bath, you know? Um,
Well, we like
yeah.
you all natural, Montag. So
That's right. That's right. Uh, you know,
kids at home, you got to get used to that. Let me tell you,
that's
that's not
right.
an easy thing to do.
Yeah. Um, yeah,
Well,
Jaws
I think
2 is not as good, obviously, only because
right.
Jaws it's such a high bar. It's such an
Yeah,
amazing movie. Number two, it's okay. I mean, it still has the feel of Jaws. That's one thing I
yeah,
like about it. The atmosphere, and I think maybe
mhm,
because Roy Scheider, his performance grounds it.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
still following these characters. And
yeah.
even though we
They
don't
still
have
mean
we
something. They
yeah, we
mean
don't have
something.
Quint, we don't have Hooper,
Super.
we don't have these characters, but we still are grounded. And I think it's because Scheider and his performance, and he's dealing with it in a lot of ways. It's PTSD, what he's dealing with the shark,
Absolutely.
and everyone else is just happy to move along. Like it can't happen again. Yeah, it does.
You know?
Because we got to have more. If it worked once, you will keep on making more till it
Yeah.
doesn't work.
And by the way, it happens a lot in the Amityville sequels, all 52 of them or whatever they put out, which are garbage, every single one. So, but go ahead.
Oh, like the
Anyways, I
Amityville
digress.
horror.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
those I've seen a
they're
couple of them.
Amityville space, Amityville this,
Right next to
dude. They make.
Leprechaun in Space. Leprechaun in
Oh
Space
my.
is pretty good though. You
Where's
know,
me going? Yeah. Uh,
we we have to do a Leprechaun show.
oh, that's gonna
Leprechaun.
be a good
But
one.
that's I mean I have to watch the movies again. I don't want to do
Leprechaun
that.
in the hood. Yeah,
I
I don't
remember
want
watching them with Stinkfolds. Like I don't want to waste my time watching
to.
Leprechaun
Yeah.
again.
I think
If
we,
I,
we fast forward through most of those just to get to the funny scene or kills and
exactly
and Warwick Davis or whatever doing his leprechaun
right.
stuff.
That's funny.
So,
That's all good stuff. That's gold. Yeah, I get it. I watch movies so much now on fast forward. It's like I just have a hard
I'm like
time
the same
watching.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like back to on Jaws 2, I think one of the things that hindered, I thought, is really slow to get
Hmm.
going. It took a while. They're at that big party or gal and just like,
Right. The
okay,
entrance to it. Right. When we do see a death quickly,
yeah,
but it gets buried in a lot of other stuff going on with Brody's wife and the town and then
and then all the
you know
kids and all that banner are take all
yeah,
this
and
fucking time
Brody's
on
wanting
them.
to do more, put the shark towers up, and they're hesitant about there's all this politics, but it bogs everything down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but if as we've seen it multiple times, going into it
sure.
though, there is I can enjoy the movie. It's like we loved movies from the 70s anyways, where that's the era we grew up in. I just watched
Yeah,
Gargoyles again.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like when they're in the mood
great
for
fun.
that, or the
Mhm.
car.
It's just the
Uh,
nostalgia. It feels so good. Yeah,
yeah,
actually,
it's like a comfy movie.
comfort food. Yeah,
Here, welcome to heavy metal cozy horror. Um, yeah, Jaws 2 is one of those things that I think it kind of gets buried of the four movies only because it's not really nearly as good as the first one, but it's not as bad as 3 or 4.
yeah. Not
So
for the next two we talk about. Yeah,
there's 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 there are two great things about Jaws 3. Okay. Two great things. And one is Leah Thompson, my girlfriend.
agree.
So, yes.
Yes.
And
Oh,
the fact that
your
she's in
girlfriend. Oh, hey, Leo, we'd love to have you on the show. Yeah,
That's right. We won't fight over you. There's enough to go around.
that's it.
Um,
Rough loving. Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Uh, but the fact that it was also in 3D, and I have never seen it in 3D. I really want to, because the 3D scenes are bonkers. They're ridiculous. They're
Yes,
they're
they are.
really bad. Um,
Especially the one at the end of the movie, the underwater thing, and it's still and the fucking glass shatters, everything floods and something like. Are you fucking kidding me? It didn't
pieces
do
are
nothing.
floating at you
Yeah.
slowly. Yeah, and the jaws look so ridiculous. Like it's gigantic, but the 3D
Yeah.
effects are bad. But I gotta see it in 3D. I just have to.
Yeah. I agree
Um,
with you.
because I remember on TV they were Houlihan and Big Chuck actually did a 3D movie night, and
Ooh,
it was a
nice.
martial arts film, and my
Oh,
cousin
cool.
came over and we watched it, and we went down and got the glasses. That was one of the coolest experiences I had ever had watching TV. Like it was great 3D. So I'm hopeful that I can see the Jaws 3D with 3D, the 3D effects
Hear that,
sometime.
Universal? Put it back in theaters, 3D. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe there's a
It'll
version out
last.
there.
It'll last a day, but hey, we'll be
Right.
there.
Yeah, I'll go get some
Uh,
glasses.
uh,
Yeah, Jaws
what-
3D was written by Richard Matheson, which is
wow.
like I know, right?
I
Because
didn't even
Richard,
know that. Shocking.
yeah, I think it was a payday, you
Oh,
know.
sure.
And
Yeah.
Carl Gottlieb wrote some of that too. But Richard Matheson is one of the most prolific and
Oh,
amazing horror writers of all time. I Am
amazing.
Legend. He wrote a lot of Twilight Zone. I mean,
Legend of Hell
Hell
House.
House. Just a fantastic writer. So I'm going to guess this was a good payday for him. And
Mhm.
there's like one line that stands out that shows me, here's the contempt that Hollywood has for the audience, thinking, okay, we're all a bunch of fucktards. We're not going to know anything. And so they're at the bar and Leah Thompson says, "Champagne of working class beer." Like I got it. I got the champagne. I understand that. You don't have to tell me beer. And that's just like, oh, God damn it. You really think I'm that fucking idiotic to not know what you're talking about? I mean, I know that's the dumb shit. But here's
One of
a
the other things. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, 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 good. No, no. I was just
I
gonna
was going to
give
say
the
one of the
plot.
other things, the overacting of Louis Gossett Jr. There's the scenes he's
Bouchard.
just really like, he's just really getting on, like this, and it's really over. It's like, wow, dude, pull it back a little bit, kind of.
Yeah,
I think there was a
yeah,
little overacting on his part. That was one of the things I picked.
yeah. I think it kind of mimics a 3D, a little overacting. Yeah, this is about a shark that enters into SeaWorld, like with an underwater sea kingdom, and not just a shark. We've got two. So that's how we make this one better. The first one is a baby, the first baby captured, and they try to keep it going and try to keep it alive, but doesn't happen. And then the mama is in the park. And the
The
mama is like,
mother is
the
still in
mother.
the park. Yeah,
Yes. It's like, how do we make this franchise even spookier, better? We're going to make a bigger shark and we're going to make it in 3D. Um,
yeah.
yeah, Jaws 3 is it's like I won't say guilty pleasure because I take no guilt in anything I do anymore. Um, no, fuck guilt. Uh,
Last time we got together, we watched it. We laughed our asses off.
exactly.
So much fun.
And that's the thing, it's just here's something
Cheesy
it's
popcorn
bad.
fun.
It's
Yeah,
bad. And it's really good to watch it with friends because you're like, you can make fun of it, like we do.
absolutely.
Um, but it's one of those movies that like when it's on, like I actually rewatched all four Jaws movies to prepare for this because it's been a while. Because it's
Oh,
I
yeah.
know. And I
I
just had
thought
them
about
on.
going for the next one, but I was like, no, I just can't do. Okay, we'll get there.
Well, I had it on in the background. I have them on my computer and I was just playing them while I was working. So for the most
Yeah,
part, I was there
you
background.
spared
I
yourself.
could hear the dialogue and look over if I wanted to.
Sure,
But it was just enough because I'd seen him enough. And
sure.
I like Jaws 3. It's not a good movie at all. But
Yeah,
when I'm in the mood for like Cheese Fest, it is a really good Cheese Fest kind of movie.
the only thing that beats that is Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. There you
You know?
go.
Jaws meets the Phantom of the Park.
Oh, that'd be a good.
That'd be nice. Yeah, I think if you're gonna do a night of cheese, like if you're gonna do a 24-hour cheese fest, that would be a
Oh,
really
yeah.
good stink bowl. Or I mean a really good heavy metal horror. We have to go our top five cheesy horror movie. Like if we're gonna do a film festival,
Ooh,
we
yeah,
got
that's a good one.
yes, that'll be one we got to do that.
Okay, hell yeah.
Cantaloupe Haze, thank you for opening my mind. Um, let's see. Yeah, Jaws 3 it is so cheesy. The effects are really hokey looking.
Yeah,
Early 3D effects for film, that red and green. You could see a lot of that intentional red and green in the
yeah,
film itself, in the movie, color schemes. And there are a lot of scenes like when the dolphins are getting fed and they jump up right at the camera,
yeah,
there's Flipper. Um,
yeah,
other things like that. They're like, okay, that
yeah.
I can appreciate the silliness of that. Like, look,
Sure.
someone's going, the producer's going, look, man, you're shooting a 3D movie. Let's give the audience something to go, sit back at. So shove something in their faces.
I
Um,
think one of the other things too. Do you notice as the sequels went on, the practical shark, looked worse and worse and worse?
yeah,
I mean, we'll
because
get to that. We'll get to the last sticker. Yeah,
yeah,
because that
I
fuck
think
that
yes,
fucking
yeah, they
shark.
do get really bad. And by the time it's a wind up toy, the last one, it's like it's a really horrible one. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
because they just didn't put any money into it.
sure, sure. Because each film
Because the
subsequently lost
right,
less,
and the thing is, they made
money.
so much money with the first one, they just weren't willing to put any more money into it because they're like, oh, we want to make all the money.
Yeah,
Um, but I think by the time, I'm sure shooting in 3D probably was pretty expensive, and maybe
yeah,
something had to be
time.
sacrificed, and
Yeah,
namely the
unfortunately.
effects. I'm just guessing, yeah, because it is really bad, those scenes, and
Like I
that's what
said, just
makes it
that.
the enjoyableness. But I like the whole idea of the undersea kingdom,
Yeah.
and I love that kind of stuff. Um,
Hmm.
but
I thought that, yeah, that was a unique turn on it. on the series.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and the connection is we're keeping the it's not Martin's not in the picture, we're not the Brodies, but it's the kids now. And that's who
All
we're
growing up.
seeing. They're growing up. We're taking on things. Because I think Jaws 3D came out in '83, I think.
And the one gets to date Leah Thompson. Fucker. But anyways,
We've all
anyways,
dated Leah Thompson
yeah,
a few
we've dated a
times.
few times. Just a few. Okay.
Yeah, there is, and I enjoy that silliness. It's not something I want to see all the time. It's like,
Right.
but I do enjoy the overacting. I like Louis Gossett Jr. Is his overacting is kind of funny, and
Kind of comical.
it
Yeah.
is kind of comical, unintentionally funny,
Sure. Unintentional.
and but you see him trying to be, run this park, and he's kind of taking over the mayoral role in a way. He's trying to
Yeah.
save the park. So we're shifting over all these character types over to new characters, and we're trying to do something different with the story. So it's not just the shark focusing on, Amity, but attacking SeaWorld.
Yeah, that's a good point about Louis Gossett Jr.'s character taking on that mayoral role from the Amity Island and stuff, which that was, I forget the actor's name who did the mayor. He
Yeah,
did
he's
it.
a good character actor. He's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he was the first one hired, I think. Or no, Lorraine Gray.
Oh,
Was Brody's wife.
okay.
Yeah, I think she was the first one. Then he was brought in too. And I think you're building off these characters, and that's Spielberg wanted people who didn't look like they were Hollywood stars. He wanted like kind of normal
You
looking
know,
people because
yeah,
it
they
would make it
looked the
feel more
part.
realistic.
Yeah, they absolutely looked the part, like
Yeah,
they lived there, literally and stuff, and
yeah,
in that
yeah.
community and stuff. So yeah, well done.
Oh
Period.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we're going back to three, so
But
I get
three, yeah, it is bad. I like it. It's funny. Um,
you know,
and it's not something I want to go to a lot. But if I'm in the mood for it, like, yeah, but I have to
I,
really be in the mood for it. Um,
I think I'm in one of those. The one scene that really jolts me, scares me out of three is the one diver, the shark hunter or whatever, and he's in that filtration, and Jaws gets him, and there he's trapped in there, and it's just like and just chomps him in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think
yeah.
that was pretty terrifying. I thought,
hmm Yeah, there are some good underwater scenes because we have the physical submersible with they're in the undersea kingdom kind of thing, and we have
Mhm.
some really other good scenes as well. And in this one, the I'm trying to remember how the shark dies. End of three.
Oh, it's like a grenade was hanging in the one dude's hand, and the
Oh,
Mauser
right,
or
right,
something.
right.
They're
Yeah,
pulling
I
it.
can see it. Right,
And
right, right.
you
Okay.
see all the blood and guts go slow motion 3D, like, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, including a Jaws comes out at the screen
Yeah,
at
the
you.
jaws up. And
Right. Yeah, because the
it sits there.
dolphins were there. The dolphins were jump up in the air, and that's the last scene. We're like, um, 3D flipper. Right, 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 right.
One of the
Yeah.
effective things in that movie, too, I thought, was some of the underwater shots of the Undersea Kingdom where the crowd's looking out as the camera's going by, and it's supposed to be Jaws, meant to be.
Yeah,
Or when
yeah,
you actually see Jaws from there to a shark, and you're like, oh, that's pretty effective. That was pretty good.
yeah.
So,
Those things are really nice. That makes it enjoyable, because you don't
mhm.
get you do it starts off in the first movie, has that Jaws has that because you are going up to the swimmers, you're getting from the shark's point of view as it's coming up to like munch on people. So they keep on doing that, which is important. I think it gives us a sense of purpose and
Continuity.
yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jaws 3D um is lesser than Jaws 2. There are moments that are more enjoyable, but as a movie as a whole, it's definitely not good. But it's better than Jaws the Revenge.
And it's better to watch with your best friends.
That's
So,
right.
uh,
1987.
we have watched a lot of turds, and we love making fun of the movies that we watch. So,
Yes,
yeah.
we certainly have. We certainly have done that. Um, yeah, Jaws Revenge came out. Jaws Revenge was written by Michael de Guzman. I don't know who he is. Directed by Joseph Sargent. And this one, th this is about okay. This time it's personal. That's the
That's
that's
the
the tag.
tagline.
That's the
Yeah.
tagline where
Ugh.
Jaws
I was
follows the
personally
Brody
offended after
family.
watching it. So, but yeah,
Yeah, one of the Brody kids is eaten by Jaws early on,
yeah, it's gone. Yeah,
so um Mrs. Brody she Ellen goes down to she's convinced that the shark is seeking revenge on her family. Because it and so and the most interesting twist of all time, and the how do they do that? The Jaws, the new shark, she goes down to the Bahamas because that's where her Michael is, um, and studying conch shells. No, I shit you not, studying conch shells in the Bahamas, and Jaws follows Ellen down to the Bahamas.
yeah, yeah.
How it knows she's down there, nobody knows. No,
Right from the fucking cold water to the hot near the equator and
yeah,
all
I
this shit.
mean that's it's like it's bad as Gino 98 Godzilla, being a
Oh,
going from a tropical climb to going to New York to spawn? Really? Are you fucking serious?
yeah,
Temperate waters
yeah.
now? And let's not get into the whole like a male iguana having babies and a vegetarian creature eating tuna. Let's make that a different movie altogether. Let's call this though Gino. Like and not Gino, like Godzilla name all. This is Gino Jino, Jaws in name only. Um yeah, Jaws of Revenge. I'm so grateful to have watched this with you, Chop, a few times because it
Yeah,
is horrid. Just so bad. You know, the film looks nice. It's nicely shot. There's some really nice underwater scenes,
yeah.
and Marvin or Mario Van Peebles plays is the he's from
Assistant.
Jamaica. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're studying conch shells, and his wife is an artist, and Ellen Ellen Brody looks supremely uncomfortable in this role because she's in the Bahamas wearing these sweaters, long sleeve
yeah.
sweaters with shoulder
And
pads.
with the fucking shoulder pads. Yeah, I was just gonna go
Yeah,
there. Yeah. Like, how more fucking uncomfortable can you make yourself in the Bahamas?
I'm like sweating watching this movie. Like Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
wear a fucking pair of shorts and a t-shirt for Christ's sake. You're in the fucking Bahamas, lady. Um, but Jaws
yeah.
follows him down there, right? Sorry, man, you were gonna say something about.
No, I was gonna go on because you talked about Ellen seeming uncomfortable, and well, yeah, she's dressed in a fucking parka coat in the Bahamas, but then you get, Hoagie. Michael Caine was just not a good role for him. Just not good. It wasn't.
It's a
And there's
bad
so many
role.
hilarious lines though that he makes that are.
It's
Let me tell
he's
you
a
something, Ellen Brody.
he is a working actor, and I admire that whatever he's in, he's gonna just give it his all. Even and he doesn't
Yeah,
care even if the script is shit. He's gonna try to do something with it. Now, there's really very little about this script that's redeemable. It's just not
absolutely.
good. But yes,
Mhm.
he's out there trying to get Ellen to, you know, move on with her life, and he's interested in her, and she's just not wanting any part of that. But yeah, he's a pilot,
Yep. Oh
Hoagie
yeah,
the pilot,
Hoagie.
and
And the
uh,
most ridiculous scene, one of them, is because I suppose we didn't talk about the chopper in Jaws 2 that takes
oh
one bite
right,
out and
right,
fucking
right.
goes down real quick. But this Hoagie's fucking plane, he takes down the whole fucking plane. It's like, oh, that was nothing. This is how many tons of machine, and he just goes down real quick like nothing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. So, but I digress. Go ahead. You say,
No,
buddy.
no, no, you're right. I had forgotten about the chopper. That's another thing. We didn't have anything like that in the first Jaws. So,
Right.
just biting the boat.
Yeah.
Now we have a helicopter. I remember that scene. That was pretty cool. And now we have an airplane. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
what is I'm trying to think if there's anything good about Jaws. The quality of the film stock is really nice. I will say that. It looks like it's a good looking film. The
yeah.
underwater scenes are particularly clear and bright because you're in the Bahamas, you
Kind of,
know?
it's kind of lush,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the settings and
His
stuff.
wife's a an artist. She does sculpture. I don't know. It's not good sculpture, but she's out there welding. That's fine. Uh, but it is not as badly acted. It's badly written.
Yeah.
Um, it's just not
How
good.
about and how about Monte? I'll leave the floor to you. How about the way Jaws gets killed in this one? Would you like to go on that
Well,
ridiculous?
this
Right?
one
Yeah.
was much more successful in the Super Nintendo game. Uh, yeah, this involves electrocuting the shark, And then the shark roaring. Ah! Which
Godzilla's roar,
yeah,
ladies
yeah,
and
it
gentlemen.
was very
Godzilla's roar.
Godzilla like. But
Yeah.
if we make the connection, if we go back to Steven Spielberg and Jaws 1975, we look at his earlier film with Dennis Weaver. The first movie he made was a made-for-TV movie called Duel.
Hell of a movie.
Where
Yeah.
yeah, where Steven or where Dennis Weaver and this sadistic, maniacal truck driver get into this movie, road rage thing. And at the end, you see the truck as it's like rolling over to the cliff, you hear this groaning sound of the tortured
I
steel or
forgot
whatever.
about that. Yeah.
And the same sound is used in Jaws, where when
Okay.
Jaws is going down, the body of the shark, Spielberg brought that sound effect in to kind of made the connection between Jaws is very much like Duel, or the
Yeah.
Duel and the shark and the truck are very similar.
Interesting.
So now we carry over the roar into number four. So you got to electrocute the shark, which makes him jump out of the water, and then, um, and then I think they're on the yacht, right? The boat, and
Yeah.
it's got a big mast, and I know they have to ram the shark, but there's some
It,
explosives too, right?
I don't
So,
know about that, but I know
well,
that when the
well, I
mask
know
goes
they,
through the shark, and I'm like, just
yeah,
at that instant, right? And it's just going to stay still, but going to penetrate through all that blubber and everything else, and whatever.
yeah, a big dull piece of wood's going to cut through a shark body, but apparently it did. Um, yeah, and this shark explodes though, because there's got to be an explosive
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, you're right. He does
Yeah,
explode.
explodes like four or five times, and you could tell that they had a turtle, like a kiddie pool, and they blew up a little model in that. That's what it looked like. That's how cheap the explosion effect. And they play it like five or
Ooh,
six times. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, man, once was bad enough. Just blow up a boat in the water. This tells you how little money they were
yeah.
putting into
A
the movie at
lot
the
of little
time.
backing. This was just a cash grab to drive off the name Jaws period.
It was the
You
lowest
know,
grossing film of the franchise, 51.9 million total gross.
yeah.
But and its budget was 23 million.
I think 3D was a success. They had almost three times its budget, like 88 million or something like that.
Oh, I don't know about
Uh,
that. That could be.
and yeah, but I think isn't it interesting? We go on about we'll have a show about sequels, I'm sure down the road. But in this specific series of films, it goes like I think you could make everybody's list. It'd be like number one, the first one, number two, the second, number three, the third, and number four, Revenge. Isn't that? I think that would make everybody's. It's just unusual to see that kind of stuff with sequel films. Not all sequels are great, but
Right.
sometimes there's sequels out there that actually are better than the first in some cases. Not a lot in some cases, but it's
Yeah, I
interesting
think
how
I
it just.
think
I think
some
everybody's list would go like this if you rated them.
interesting.
So,
Yeah. Aliens would be a good one to look at, the Aliens franchise,
oh
Alien
yeah,
franchise, because I think
uh-huh.
and some people would argue that the sequel was better than the first. I just say
Ah,
it's a different animal. They're two different, very different.
great.
First one's a haunted house in space. The second one's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah,
That's it, and that's
very very good analogies. Yeah,
yeah, and that's the difference here. I don't I still love Alien. Alien's one of my favorites.
dude,
Um,
of all time. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah, and we can also look at yeah, not yeah, sequels are different. Yeah, Exorcist, has had ad nauseum. Exorcist 2 is so horrible. We can talk about that on our show. Um,
yeah. We could do a whole damn show on that one.
yeah,
That's a turd.
but we both
Definitely.
love 3. So,
Yep.
you
Oh,
know,
brilliant.
yeah.
No.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it'd be cool. But yeah, Jaws the Revenge is an unworthy successor to the Jaws throne. It's embarrassingly bad. There's probably a reason why they stopped making them after that. Um, but I keep on hearing rumors like, oh, we're going to be another Jaws remake. I'm like, don't you
First, you
fucking
tried to.
touch
Yeah,
that.
you cannot touch that
You can't.
masterpiece.
You can't just
No.
band on with it. But when we look at the impact the Jaws franchise has had, like you had mentioned before in popular culture, you know, I for one love the Sharknado movies. And I'm grateful that there are so many shark movies out there now. If you go on Tubi, there's a whole fucking thing of like shark movies,
Yeah.
just shit tons of shark movies. Um,
Mhm.
I'm like, I gotta watch them, and I
I
started
see.
watching a
I
couple,
think
and some of them were just really stinkeroos. Like,
really. Yeah.
ooh, yeah, like.
You know, I will say some shark movies I'm a fan of. You might laugh, but I like Deep Blue Sea, the first
I'm a
one.
shark. I'm gonna eat you.
Yeah. And then, but I think that's just a fun movie.
Hmm.
And I like the whole concept, because it goes into medicine and pharmaceutical messing with, you know, other, living creatures. And here you get the result,
It's a
unfortunately.
big budget
And
Jaws.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then you have, I think, with another effective movie, a shark movie, The Shallows.
I've not
I
seen
thought
it.
was really good. Oh yeah. That's good with I can't remember her name, unfortunately. She married Ryan Reynolds, I know that.
Oh, wait a minute. Is
But
that where she's a swimmer? She gets stuck on the coral reef or something when the water goes down?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that is really good. Yeah, yeah,
I thought really, yeah. So that's another one I think was really exceptional.
yeah.
Um, and then I'm thinking, how about that one bait
Oh, that was
where the
really good.
tsunami comes through in Australia
Yeah,
and
that was really
in
good.
that
Yeah, Bait
supermarket?
was
That
good.
was fun. Yeah,
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, there's a lot of fun, really entertaining movies with shark stuff. I know Sci-Fi Channel was like cranking out the shark movies left and right. And Tommy Wiseau, the writer director of The Room, has a shark movie on the way. I think it's just called Big Shark. So very original. But I'm excited about it. But yeah, there are
yeah,
hundreds of bad shark movies. If anything else, we can kind of look at how Jaws has influenced and has still 50, years later.
yeah,
Shit, next year will be the 50th anniversary, Chop. I
yeah.
bet you there's
Wow,
going to be,
dude.
oh, maybe it'll be back in the theater.
Oh, maybe
That'd be
we can make a
nice.
point to catch that ourselves together, see that in the
Yeah,
theater.
that'd be
For
awesome.
the first time for me, so I'd be like, hell yeah, cool.
Yeah, we'll invite Leah Thompson if they ever show Jaws 3. But
Right.
Leah,
And
we'd love
Leah,
to have you on the
please give
show.
us your. Yeah, we'd love to have
We're
you on the show.
fans. We're
Yeah,
fans.
big
Um,
fan. So,
but yeah, yeah, you know, yeah, Jaws Revenge. That one,
uh,
that one was just I was just glad to be listening to it while I was working.
yeah, that's
That's
all you need to
just
do is work into it.
yeah,
Yeah.
the only way I would ever watch that is again like for entertainment is with other people, you know.
Yeah,
It's
like
just
us,
like
we make fun of it and shit. Yeah,
yeah, because we're talking and we're having a goofing around time. But yeah, m- I don't have the patience for that stuff anymore. I need it like no,
no,
look, if I don't have time for this, man. I'm closer to the end than the beginning. I don't have time for bad movies. So uh anyway, I think I don't think I have much more to say about Jaws. Do you?
no. I just want to. I'd be interested, our viewers and stuff. We'd be interested in your comments of what you think of all four films, and some of your memories also of when you first saw Jaws itself, the original one. We'd like to hear from you, so please reach out and put your comments in the comments section below, please.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be nice to know that as well. Um, so yeah, I know this is an interesting episode. I mean, because we've never done anything like this. This feels more like
Yeah,
something that would be on like we would do with on Unsane Radio. We always do these kinds of
mhm.
like this kind of
This is really
stuff.
cool going through this series though and stuff, and
Yeah, and not
and
getting into
how
too
both our
much.
lists kind of as you go through them in succession, they get worse and worse and worse. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think yeah, yeah. That way we have other series we can definitely look at like this, but.
absolutely.
But yeah, anyway, so hey, bite me jaws. Yeah, get out there and check it out for yourself. So hey, you can find heavy metal horror on unsaneradio.com. Listen to full episodes or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. On Instagram, look for Montag Lewis, one word. Our YouTube page, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. If you're watching, that's where you're at. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you know someone who'd like our show, tell them about us. This has been Montag. Jaws of Illusion.
And Chop Top.
Oh, Chop, you make me want to get my socks. And you've been watching and listening to Heavy Metal Horror.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.